Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are still 2 months away from the inauguration of Donald Trump as the President of the United States. But in a wise move, we're already seeing Donald Trump making hints at administrative selections and at policies that he is going to put into place as we move forward. Specifically, the big one with immigration. Now, I am not somebody who's been the biggest fan of the wall, but I understand why he talked about it, and I understand the real issue of immigration and border control. But this is what Donald Trump is actually dealing with as far as starting to put some of these into practice. Now, this is from USA Today headline, "Yes, Donald Trump will have broad power to crack down on immigration. President-elect Donald Trump said he plans to deport about 2 to 3 million undocumented immigrants." That's what he said when he was on 60 Minutes on Sunday. He said he would emphasize criminals before deciding about law-abiding families illegally in the country. I think that was a wise move for Donald because a lot of people are afraid that they're in this country not legally, but that they're going to be deported. But as we've been saying, you know, the first people Donald Trump is going to look at is the criminals he's been talking about. That doesn't mean all illegal immigrants. That doesn't mean Mexicans. That's just the criminals who have been deported and then come back to this country. We've seen it multiple times. He wants to focus on those people. Now, here's an interesting chart that shows the returns and the removals of people. This is from the same USA Today article. And you'll notice that the returns have been going down ever since Obama came into office. Obviously, we can understand why. The returns are people who try to enter the U.S. illegally that get stopped at the border and then shipped back. This is something we did not see coming from Barack Obama. ICE even admitted this. When we talked to Border Control, they also said that this was an issue where they can't even enforce the law. But the interesting thing is we're seeing that removals are actually on the way up. I think that's because there's been so many people that have come to this country illegally that, of course, removals is going to go up when you have such a increasing number of the illegals here. You're going to see the removals go up. But it's amazing how the returns went just straight down under Obama. I wonder what that graph will look like after 4 years of a Donald Trump administration. Now, this is the key point here, folks, when it comes to refugees. The number of refugees accepted by the U.S. each year is set exclusively by the president. So this is something that Donald Trump will have power over, just like President Obama increased the number of refugees accepted into this country to 70,000 in 2015. And then in 2017, Barack Obama made that number 110,000. So in the first year of Trump's administration, he's going to, I suppose, be dealing with that Obama number of 110,000. We'll see if there's anything he wants to try to do about that or if there's anything he can do about that, and then what the number for 2018 might look like. Now, the border wall. Extending the 650 miles of wall or fencing that currently exists would require congressional approval because of the billions of dollars that the project would cost. Of course, Trump says Mexico will pay for it. Trump told 60 Minutes that in certain areas a wall is more appropriate, but in other areas there could be some fencing. So perhaps Trump is kind of backing down off of the build the biggest wall in the history of mankind across the whole border rhetoric that some people believe was coming from him. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican out of Kentucky, said on Wednesday that border security is something he thinks ought to be high on the list. But wait a second, Mitch, you've been in government. You've had a very powerful spot in government for a long time. How come it wasn't a high priority under the Obama administration? So not sure about Mitch McConnell and his comments there. Let's see how long he lasts now that Donald Trump has come or will be coming into the White House, and that the American people are more aware of who they're voting for. I think that might be a death blow to Mitch McConnell. Now, this coming out of LifeZette. Agents brace for pre-Trump border surge. Now, of course, we've already seen this happening with people coming to the border knowing that Donald Trump is about to get elected. They've actually been warned in foreign countries to come to this country because Trump's going to get elected. This is their last chance to get in here for free, basically, evade the law. At the same time, according to the head of the union representing over 16,000 U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agents, career level managers of the agency are likely to push back against the directives of outgoing political appointees of Obama. Now, actually, I want to correct myself. I'm not sure if this is 165,000 or 16,000, maybe a typo here on the article. But nonetheless, they're talking about how they don't want to listen to what Obama appointees are saying about Border Patrol, and they're more interested in hearing what Trump has to say or catering to Trump's policies. You can expect to see CBP pushing back and holding those people, talking about who Obama is appointing. They're going to want to make it look like we're in lockstep with Trump. We're already seeing it now. So as we've said, this is another example of Donald Trump already being the United States president, where the people in charge of the border are more catering to his policies than Obama's. Now, Brandon Judd went on to say you're going to see less people giving themselves up. Right now, lots of people cross the border and throw their hands up saying, come get me. Now they're going to try to evade apprehension. Isn't that wild? Most people didn't even think that that was going on, but it was going on, going to the border and running to Border Patrol because you know you're going to get a free handout. Now, here's another thing. Trump may have actually won the popular vote. We're hearing people crying about Hillary winning the popular vote, but votefraud.org has recognized that 3 million votes in this election were cast by illegal citizens. 3 million votes cast by illegal citizens. Of course, we're just assuming that those went for Hillary Clinton. We'd have to actually do a little more research to find out if that's true, but I think that's a fair assumption to make. Also, that 4 million dead people were registered to vote the day of the election. So even though Trump won and we're not whining and complaining like the Trump protesters, there needs to be something looked into here with voter fraud. China fires, this is from CNBC, China fires its first warning shot, warning iPhone sales will suffer if Trump starts a trade war. Now, here's the irony of this. Apple iPhones and U.S. goods could suffer sales hit if if President-elect Donald Trump goes through with his very naive plan of slapping a large import tariff on Chinese products. So you mean that your slave goods aren't going to sell as well in the United States? The super rich aren't going to profit as much off of slave labor? Now, the funny thing is the liberals are going to use this against Trump, ignore the tactics that are used by these manufacturers to basically drive down the wages of the people building these products, drive down the currency value of the countries where they're being shipped out of in order to make more money for themselves. They'll use that to demonize Trump, but yet they'll go out and they'll buy a new iPhone made by slave labor every year. And of course, what is that iPhone that comes out new every year? It's got a new name and a new upgrade and a new, more expensive price made by the exact same slaves that made the same one a year ago, but they're still going to charge you a hand and a leg for that. So I'm sorry, maybe for a year or two, you're going to have to suffer with the same iPhone that you've had for a year, and you're not going to be able to get that most recent iPhone. Isn't that just too bad for you? You can't get the most recent iPhone. Oh my gosh. But then what might happen is they might start manufacturing these iPhones in the United States, so more jobs here, and then you know what? Price might actually go down because they don't have to ship those goods over here. They don't have to pay that import tariff, but that's just how it works. They don't understand that. Soros prepares for Trump war. Now, we're already seeing this, folks. The Democracy Alliance has funneled upwards of $500 million towards liberal activist groups. The DA requires all of its major financiers to donate at least $200,000 a year to approve activist groups. And of course, what we're seeing now is we have stories, obviously, well, thanks to Project Veritas, we saw what the Democratic operatives do in order to foment unrest on the streets. But now, on Zero Hedge, one of their readers noticed that these protesters are being bussed in. So we've seen it in the WikiLeaks. We've seen it in the Project Veritas. We've been reporting it to you for years on Infowars.com, but now we're actually seeing it manifested. We've actually got the proof. Blocks of anti-Trump protest buses caught on tape. And this person notes who caught the video, a video of 5 city blocks on the west side of Chicago lined up with buses from Wisconsin. All these people ended up protesting. Of course, we know Chicago is one of their main areas We heard this after Aaron Black, the Democratic operative who you're not supposed to know, admitted they were the ones that shut down the Trump rally in Chicago. Now they're trying to do more of it. Homes vandalized with anti-Trump message. So when they go low, we go to their homes and destruct their property. For more, go to Infowars.com.
In the past decade, we have witnessed unparalleled scientific discoveries in the area of health. But no one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. DNA Force is one of the most expensive formulas to produce. Some of the ingredients in DNA Force are $12,000 a kilogram. We are using the coveted, patented, only American source of PQQ, CoQ10, and more. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? Well, we're bringing you a total win-win. The ultimate value, cutting-edge, trailblazing game changer that also supports the InfoWar. We have produced a limited run of DNA Force, and it will take up to 12 weeks to produce more once we sell out. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.